Hello and welcome to the 20th episode of Pedz Game Shack. I am here today with a returning guest. Last time you were here, you were talking about Pokemon. This time, we're talking about a game that's Pokemon-like. So, for those who are wondering, who could this special person be? It's Doomspoon. How you doing, Doom?
Hello. It's been a while. Yeah, okay. Been all good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I haven't been bad. Been getting into different things other than games, like D&D and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been quite fun. Like you invited me to join your game, which we'll be starting soon. I've also been playing it again on a Saturday with other people every fortnight. Except for this week, it's going to be next week instead, so it's a 3-week gap. But that is a bit more difficult to do. Not difficult to do, but I have to stay up till like 5 in the morning to play it, or like it starts at 1, it finishes about 5. So I'm tired on a Sunday, but it's fine because, like, you know, I'll just sleep a bit longer Sunday. But you know, it's something I've always wanted to play, and until now never been able to because I don't have friends.
I'm in a very similar position to you. D&D was something that I've kind of always liked the idea of, but never had the kind of friend base to be able to play it, I suppose. But it just so happens that through the dads group, there was enough of us it kind of interested. A couple of the guys are kind of veteran players, I suppose, who have helped us through like a one-shot campaign, which was really cool, just to kind of get the feelers out there. And so we'll be starting our proper campaign now, hopefully all being well, in the next couple of days or next few days. And I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in. And at least this one is a bit more of a reasonable time, you know. It's probably looking around kind of 7:30 of an evening, rather than obviously staying up until 5, because yes, those days are well past me these days, at least anyway.
Yeah, I know the feeling, like, but it's just the way it happened. Like, I sorted out through Roll20. The person who was going to be DM wanted a chat beforehand to basically get to know me a bit before they went forward, and then we all discussed time. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with whatever time. So, like, normally I don't stay up that late, but once every 2 weeks isn't too bad. It just means that I'm a little bit more tired on a Sunday, but otherwise it's okay. Like, But like when I was younger, I probably could have played D&D with friends because I had a lot more friends, and a lot more friends were interested in that kind of thing. Like I had friends who played Warhammer with me, and fantasy, and also Warhammer Quest, which is kind of like D&D light. It's more the whole dungeon-y part, I think, of D&D. So, you know, but I heard there was Advanced Heroes Quest, which was made by someone else, which was supposed to be really good, but Heroes Quest, not Warhammer Quest, Hero Quest. So
it's funny you say that. I've again through the dads group, we've organised a Warhammer hobby evening every fortnight on a Friday, and for the Friday in between the weeks that we do that, there's a small group of us, of about 4 of us, I think it is, 5 of us, who are doing a Hero Quest campaign. So we'll be starting that as well. So I'm busy. So I've got Hero Quest, Warhammer, D&D, gaming, work, and family life to juggle these days.
Yeah, not much.
No, not at all. Hence why I said I can't do that. Late nights for me. I mean, we're recording this quite late, for me at least, quite late. So once I finish this, I'll be hopefully heading to bed.
I'll definitely be heading to bed. I'll be jumping over there and just going straight to sleep. Well, I say that I'll probably put on a podcast to listen to to go. Cause I like to listen to something as I'm going to sleep, but as soon as I start the doors, like as if I'm about to drop off, I'll pause it, because otherwise I'll have to try and work out where I was if I fall asleep, and that's annoying, and I'm lazy. But yeah, Hero Quest was really good. I remember back in the day. I'd like to get involved in that too. I'm only joking. How did you manage to play Hero Quest? And do you all meet up in person, or like Hero Quest and also Warhammer 40k? Generally speaking, do you meet up, or was it all done online somehow?
We meet up. Yeah. We one of the guys has his place is big enough to host like a few of us, so we go there for the Warhammer hobby evening, and he also owns a copy of Hero Quest plus all the expansion packs. So
That's cool.
But
does he own
through...
Advanced Hero Quest?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that's meant to be a lot more complex and better somehow.
Oh, really?
I don't know though. I've never played it myself. I've just heard someone say it. And by heard, someone would say, I read it on G-Arcade. They're on about it on there. Anyway. For those who are new listening, I like to say that we do 3 segments for the podcast, which is currently playing, top news, and we play together. Currently playing is us talking about games we currently playing. Top news is about news that I deem worthy for the podcast, and there is none this time, so we're only doing 2 segments. And the third and final segment we play together is the game of the podcast, which we'll talk about later. So with that, Doom, what are you currently playing?
So I've recently had a bit of a resurgence of a game that I've become quite famous for playing, I suppose, and that is Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
So it was going to go one of 2 ways. It was either going to be Sea of Thieves or Stardew Valley, wasn't it? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
But yes, so recently, I say recently, probably the last 4 or 5 weeks, gotten back into it, and it's been really cool. I mean, you know, I played pretty much solidly for the first year of the game. Kind of got Pirate Legend in the first year, and yeah, kind of the game was very bare bones back then, but there was something really enjoyable about it. So to come back after, you know, I probably finished playing about 18 months into it, essentially. And then so to come back now, it's been such a kind of information dump, I suppose, because there's, you know, we're on season, they released seasons, and we're on season 9 now. You know, there's tons of like new commendations to go for. You can own your own ship, which your ship can then also earn commendations, and you can customize them now. You can name them finally.
What happens if your ship gets sunk? Does it just respawn, or do you have to get a new ship?
No. It will respawn. However, the cosmetic damage doesn't, and you've got to pay to repair that. The physical damage repairs. So
right,
you don't just, your ship doesn't respawn with holes essentially, but because cosmetically the damage stays there until you fix it, which costs, you know, gold. But yeah, you know, you can tell there's been a lot of effort put into the kind of streamlining of the game. There's loads of content now, loads of kind of story-based and lore-based content as well. Loads cool. Of like commendations and challenges, and just, you know, kind of rekindled a lot of the fun that I had in the first kind of 18 months of that game's life. So yeah, I mean, that has taken a very large portion of kind of my available gaming time up. Yeah, I'm just trying to think now. The other game, I'd say that's taken up until the last kind of few days at least, when I've been playing the decided game for this particular episode. The other game, which I've been really surprised that I've put a lot of time into, has been MLB The Show 23.
The baseball game.
The baseball game, yeah. So I think it was last year Xbox or Microsoft managed to obtain the rights to put it on Game Pass. which is, I think, really strange because it's a PlayStation Studios game.
Yeah.
So, well, the game is by San Diego Studios, which is a studio owned by PlayStation, and somehow Microsoft have got the rights to put it on Game Pass on day one of release as well. It's not like you're getting it late or anything. And I kind of downloaded it on a whim. I like baseball. I like games that are very like statty, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of cricket, for instance. And so I thought, let's just give it a go and kind of jump into it. I have to say, as a sports game, like the reality is, sports games are quite boring in the sense that there's not really a lot to talk about, is there? If I say to you, I play FIFA, that's it. I can't describe it any better than that, can I?
No.
You know exactly what it is. It's kind of that's that. The thing I was really taken aback by this game is, and this is going to sound weird, I don't want this to come across as almost kind of being a bit artsy fartsy type of thing, but the game's got a lot of soul. Like it's the only way I can describe it. Is like you really get the impression that it's a game that was developed by fans for fans, and like I just put it this way, I'm so used to like the EA Sports style of games because they, all the 2K games, those two companies have kind of got or those two publishers at least have the monopoly on most sports games, haven't they? So then to have this kind of, I don't want to say unknown studio, but San Diego Studios is it's not one of the big ones, is it? So have these guys, no. So to have these guys kind of churn this out every year, with, it's just loads of character to it. They've got lots of kind of really well-known people within the baseball's kind of hemisphere, who are kind of, there's little snippets of videos of them talking about the sport and things like that. And like, you really do get, well, for me at least, you really do get the impression that there's a lot of effort and a lot of like love that goes into putting that game together. And yeah, I don't know. It's for me, it really absorbed me just because of the kind of character to a game, which is very unusual for a sports game to have that. It's not just, it's not, if you want it to be a baseball sim with full blown, like really complicated controls and everything's like really detailed and complicated, you can do that. Nice. But if you want it to be a more arcadey experience where you can just sit back, you can relax and slam a load of home runs and represent the team, and and kind of take, there's like a career mode and everything where you can develop your baseball player from the minor leagues to the MLB and try and win the World Series. And I don't know, it's just, all I can say is, don't judge it as it sounds weird to not judge it as a sports game, but don't judge it as a sports game like you've ever played before, unless you've played the MLB The Show. Don't look at it like a 2K game or an EA game, which are basically just, I mean, they make a lot of money, so they're clearly good at what they do, but it's very just plain. It's very like, just, it is what it is, and that's that. Where this game, it's just got a bit of character. They go the extra mile with the detail, and there's something about that I can really appreciate. That's the only way I can describe it. So yeah, so a bit of an oddball, wasn't something that I was expecting, but they're the two games that have really taken up my time anyway.
Nice. I'm not into most sports. I have played a little bit of MLB 22, I think it was, last year's game, just because there was a Game Pass quest. I played there, done the quest, and knocked it off and deleted it. So I didn't really give it much of a chance, but I don't think personally I would enjoy it, simply because it just doesn't seem to be for me. I just don't really enjoy that kind of thing.
No.
which is, fair enough. But obviously Sea of Thieves, on the other hand, is a game I used to play quite regularly myself, and I was quite into it. I didn't play it as much as yourself, but I played it a fair whack. And I played through a fair bit with Matt and Grum. But I think Matt ran out of Game Pass and Grum moved, and I don't see him as much now because of that. I think he's like busy with work and what have you. But yeah, I really enjoyed Sea of Thieves, and I would like to go back to it at some point, but I don't know. There's just so many games to play. Like, there's
not enough time in the day, unfortunately.
Exactly. And I would like to give Sea of Thieves another try, but I don't know when that'll be. But I really enjoyed some of the things on there, and there was also some pretty fun glitches as well. Like there was this glitch I had where a Meg popped up and decided to push me and Matt's ship, just flying along in the sea at like supersonic speed and shit like that, which never happened after that or before that one time. And another time when I got flung out of the side of the boat, like kind of glitched, and I vibrated through the wood and landed in the sea. Stuff like that. And like, obviously that isn't the reason why I like the game. Glitches happen, especially in bigger games, but for the most part, that game didn't have many issues for me.
No.
I just generally thought it was quite fun. I did find earlier on it was kind of a bit... because there wasn't much variety, but as they went on, they did start adding more and more things. And when they started adding the story stuff, some of the missions were really good, especially the one where you had the lantern and you had to work out what's gone on and things like that on one of the islands. I can't remember what the stories were called, but I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
So, I can't remember what I was going to say now. So there you go.
Was it what you've been playing?
Yeah, I can talk about what I've been playing. I've been playing a fair few games. I've been playing Dead Island and Riptide with Cumberdanes on a Saturday evening.
Oh, I assumed you were going to say Dead Island too. So you've actually you've been kind of revisiting Riptide.
Well, what it is basically is I played Dead Island way back when. But I got bored playing it. I was playing with my brother-in-law because we used to play a lot of co-op games, and I kind of got bored. And then me and Cumberdanes on a Saturday and a Wednesday do co-op stuff. We were doing 2 different games on a Wednesday and a Saturday, sorry. So Wednesday last game we were doing was Far Cry 5. Saturday we were doing Dead Island. Well, we finished Dead Island. And because I never finished it, I got bored before, so I gave her another chance because Cumberland said, he enjoyed it, and if I fancied it, to play through with him. So I was like, yeah, all right, then I'll give it another bash, which I did, and I enjoyed it. I don't like it as much as Dying Light, which is made by the same company. The first Dying Light, anyway, is made by the same people who did the first Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, I believe.
Okay.
So I think
they're very different styles of game.
Well, Dying Light and Dead Island are quite similar, except for there's more like parkour and stuff in Dying Light. So it makes it more interesting in that respect.
Yeah, Dying Light's much more, I suppose, kind of open
and fun.
Where, I mean, I can't speak for Dead Island 2. I'll get around to getting it.
Yeah, well, I don't know when I'll play Dead Island 2 or Dying Light 2, to be honest. So there's that. But like I said, we were playing 2 co-op games, but as we've been on Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide for a long time, and Far Cry 5, we just said, right, we'll jump onto Dead Island Riptide Wednesday and Saturday and just go from there. And I think the next game we're going to do is going to be and not Until Dawn, New Dawn, I think it's called, Far Cry New Dawn. And we're just going to do that Wednesday and Saturday. And then after that, I think we're going to jump into Halo 5.
Nice.
because we need to get to Halo Infinite at some point. by the time we get to it, because we were doing like Halo, Gears, then we did another, we like did different games, Outriders and stuff like that. And by the time we get to Infinite, I swear the Halo Infinite 2 will be out. Probably.
As long as you get there eventually.
Yeah. We probably will. I tell you a game I was playing before, right? There was a game that came out recently that was called Evil West. I haven't played it.
Okay.
But when I saw it, I was like, oh, it looks really cool. It looks interesting. Like, and then a couple of days saying, it reminds me of a game called Dark Watch for the Xbox. Okay. So I picked up that, right? And I was playing it, and I got to a certain point, and I was like really enjoying it. And then I loaded up my Xbox another day to play it, and the save wasn't there. So I looked up my Xbox, and for some reason, all the save data that I deleted previously from, because I bought it secondhand from eBay, silly me, all the data I deleted of their game saves somehow reappeared, and my game save disappeared.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah, so I need to get a different one, I think.
So annoying.
Yeah.
And a reset won't help that, will it?
No, I don't think so. I think I just need a new one. Or maybe something needs to be repaid in it. I don't really know, unfortunately.
No, it's a shame.
Yeah, I played a few games recently. Meet Your Maker.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
I can't say I have, no.
I'll give you a brief description. You basically create levels for other players to go into to steal this like container at the end and then escape, and you set traps and enemies and things, and people also do, and then you can play through their levels. It's quite fun, but it's like very difficult to like prestige your levels and stuff, because you need enough people to play them, to die, to get the materials to then to prestige it, so you can then add a little bit more space each time to it, so you can add a little bit more to the level each time. It's enjoyable, but you know, I haven't really played it that much recently. It was more, you know, when it came out, I played it a few hours, and I like jump in and out now and then. It's worth looking into. It's on the Xbox, but it's not on Game Pass. It came out on PlayStation Plus when it released.
Okay.
It sounds
interesting.
It is. It's just like a first-person shooter. Get through a thing, dodge all the traps.
Nice.
One thing they patched out of it, though, basically the item you need to collect is called Genmat, I think. And there's this little creature thing that crawls along, or walks along even, to collect the Genmat itself. It doesn't, and then comes back to the entrance and deposits it, like as if it's like got a patrol. Well, if you go into like some people will make levels that look like mazes, so you have to work your way out. If you follow that, it'll take you to where you need to go. But what people were doing was putting a certain type of trap there that just constantly goes, where a lot of them are set off from your presence. This just constantly keeps going, like it's like a piston that just pops in and out and crushes whatever's there. Well, people would put that right behind it, so as soon as the level started, it'd get killed. They patched that out because they were like, yeah, that's bullshit. But what I used to do, if I went into a level and I saw that happen, I'd restart the level, quickly aim up and to the left and shoot a arrow thing. It's like a harpoon gun, I think. And they'd break the trap. So a lot of the time I'd get around it by doing that. But you've got to be quick, so sometimes you'd have to do it a few times because you'd cock up by slightly aiming wrong or something. They patched that out because they were like, yeah, fuck that noise.
Yeah, no.
It is a bit bullshit.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. The game's concept certainly sounds quite good. Sounds like kind of Mario Maker, but kind of turned up a notch.
Yeah. There's probably been other games like it, but, you know, I don't know. It's enjoyable. It's just, you know, you gotta... It's just the gameplay loop can be a little bit frustrating in the sense of it depending on how much you're getting out of the game and enjoying it, it won't matter so much. But if you're only like, yeah, this is all right, I'm having fun, it's kind of like, you have to play people's levels to get the materials to build stuff and upgrade your stuff. And then you got people playing your levels, and it's like a big cycle of just playing, creating, hoping people play your level enough to upgrade your level more, and it's good, but it could be better.
You can certainly see the potential major flaws within the game.
I think it'd be worth checking out though if it comes to Game Pass, or you decide on one day going, I'll give it a buy and buy it and play it.
Well, I think a game like that requires and relies on a constant source of players regularly interacting with the game.
Yeah.
So perhaps Game Pass would be a good shout for it, because all of a sudden you'd get an influx of new, potentially regular players through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's cross. I don't know if it's cross-play, but levels created on other platforms, I know PC at least, are a shade. So I'm wondering, because it's on the Xbox, I'm wondering if all of them, if they make levels, they are shaded with everyone. If that's the case, then, that's good. But obviously, the more people who get access to it, the better it is for people playing it.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Before we move on to the next segment, I will mention one other game I've been playing.
Yep.
It's called The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
Have you been sucked into it?
Yeah, for the most part. I've been playing it along with another game. I've been playing this like 4 days of the week for my stream, and then one day I play another game. Which is Sonic Unleashed, which is quite shit. So, Tears of the Kingdom, I'm not going to say much on it because maybe I'll see if someone who's played it will want to talk about it a bit more in depth. I'm just saying I'm enjoying it. Surprisingly, I'm enjoying it more than I expected, because while I enjoyed Breath of the Wild, by 50 hours, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to finish the game now. Whereas I'm only about 28, 25 hours in. And I'm still like, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So hopefully it'll stay like that, because I'm literally 20 odd hours in and I've only done one story thing, I think. Main part of the quest, I guess. So, yeah. And Sonic Unleashed, the Sonic levels are okay, the Wayhawk levels are shite. The problem is, a lot of the time, the game is on autopilot where it'll run for you because you'll be hitting springs and other things. And it also is too fast when you're Sonic, especially as you can upgrade your speed through levels. It's like, levels are okay, but I think Sonic could be a little bit slower. Maybe it's just my old age, I don't know. Anywho, let's move on to We Played Together. And the game we have been playing for this episode is called Cassette Beasts. What do you think of Cassette Beasts?
So, I am normally very, very, what's the word? Skeptical? Maybe skeptical is the word, of any game that's kind of trying to do the kind of Pokemon formula. Like, for me, Pokemon, for me personally, is kind of the ultimate of, like, that kind of monster catching, collecting, battling game,
Yeah.
But that's probably down to the sheer nostalgia I have for the game and love that I have for the series,
Yeah.
So when this came along, I was willing to give it a go, because I'm always willing to give these things a go, especially, with it being on Game Pass as well. And I at first I had to kind of I had to force myself into it a little bit,
Okay.
because of those kind of preconceptions that I've got with Pokemon, I suppose. But after about say an hour or so of kind of pushing myself into it, I actually really started enjoying it and kind of really getting it. I think this game has got such an awesome aesthetic. That kind of it's very 80s, would you say?
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying about the aesthetic.
Yeah,
It kind of reminds me of like 90s games, like SNES visuals and stuff. It's kind of
yeah.
got
It's like
it's
that 2D HD type of style, isn't it?
yeah. It's weird because there's like some of the bosses you come across have like very different art styles
Yes. Yeah.
to the rest of the game. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a nice juxtaposition. Yeah, I used that
Yeah.
word. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it myself.
Mm.
I played it quite a bit more than you. I think I put in about 20 hours.
Oh, nice. I've put about well, just to put things into perspective, as I said, it took maybe an hour or so to kind of click, and I played it on Game Pass because it released on Game Pass yesterday, and I started to really enjoy it. So I got about 3 hours or so into it on Game Pass,
Yeah,
and then I thought to myself, no, you know what? This is a game that I'm definitely going to be playing kind of regularly from this point onwards. So I ended
nice.
up buying it on the Switch. So
All right, shit.
yeah, which is perhaps it sounds a little bit backwards because it's free on Game Pass. Why would I, and technically it runs better on, well, no, there's no technically about it. It definitely runs better on the Xbox. However, those types of games are ones that I play on the Switch. I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes any sense. I have
No,
a
I
certain,
think you've said it before. Like that, some
yeah,
games you'll buy on the Switch because it means you can sit down and play it on the
yeah,
SETI and things like that. Whereas where your other half is like watching the TV or something,
yeah.
you sit down.
There
So
are certain games like a game like Sea of Thieves. I would not want to play that on a small screen. Like I need the real estate on that game. Whereas games like this, for instance, but any game where you don't necessarily need that kind of real estate, those 2D style games or the more relaxing style of games, I'd rather have them on the Switch because of the versatility. Um, and yeah, I suppose I almost associate certain games with certain consoles. So like, I wouldn't buy a um, I wouldn't buy a Call of Duty for the Switch. For instance,
yeah,
that would be a game I get on the Xbox. Yeah, so that has a part to play in it. But then I bought it for the Switch, and I have put in like a further like 4.5 hours. So I'm definitely up
nice.
to 7 or 8 hours. And yeah, like really enjoying it. I think the difference is this isn't actually technically a monster collection game because you're not technically collecting any monsters. You are recording them.
Yeah,
You're not actually capturing them. You're recording a copy of them and then defeating them.
yeah,
So and yeah, so I really like the aesthetic with the fact that the tape recorder is the kind of battle menu. I really like the fact that the moves are kind of known as stickers and they can be peeled off and applied to the other tapes because you're essentially putting the stickers on the tapes.
yeah,
Um, as I said, it's not really, you're not really collecting, you're not capturing monsters. You're kind of recording a copy of them through these magical tapes, I suppose. I also wasn't expecting the story. Like, it's a really like abstract story. Um, and yeah, it's certainly very ambitious with the fact that you're in a world that is kind of not really, it's kind of almost another dimension, I suppose, and
yeah.
there
It
seems to
appears
be
to
no
be
way
that
out
way.
of that. Yeah, and there seems to be no way out of this dimension. And yeah, it's all very, like I said, I'm about 7 hours in, and it's all lots of mystery at the moment, and I wasn't expecting that. I thought that was really cool, but the game feels. A lot of these games, this style of game, fall down when they go to expand. I suppose that's the beauty of Pokemon, is it always feels like there's something. There's always like a Pokemon to catch, or there's always something to train, or it just feels kind of quite. I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say natural, but that's kind of the word I'm going to use, I suppose. And this game has definitely got that. That kind of more natural feel to it, and that's the only really way I can describe it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I like I said, I put in about 20-ish hours, I think, and I've played it both on PC and on the Xbox, because when it came on the Xbox, I thought, oh, I'll give it a try on there. And I think like the performance on the Xbox does have stuttering issues when I played it in comparison to the PC. If that makes sense, like it doesn't run as nicely on the Xbox Series X as it does on the PC.
Oh, see, that's interesting, because I just assumed it would.
It doesn't for me.
No.
And I haven't got like a top of the range PC or anything. My PC's about 8 years old, 7 years old, something like that. I'm not sure.
But it runs better on your PC than it does the Xbox.
Yeah, it's not constantly. It's like certain things, like after a transition or something, it'll stutter for a little bit, and then it's fine again for a while.
Just what's really interesting about that. I've played it on the Series S, and it was buttery smooth. I didn't notice a single thing. So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I can't deny the fact that the Switch version is certainly the buggiest, I suppose, out of them all. They did release a day one patch to help with that. So the game, I think on initial release, before the patch, it would crash. The game would keep crashing. They fixed that, but there are lots of stutters within the game, and I am somebody who's very tolerant of these things, like extremely tolerant. It's very hard for a game to be so broken, I suppose, that I can't play it. I'm very if I like the game, I'm willing to forgive a lot. So I'm very, very forgiving. But even there were a few occasions where it bugged me a bit. So that's for somebody who's very, very tolerant of these things, to say that it shows that it is a little too much, you know. It doesn't stop me from playing it. I will keep playing it on the Switch because it's only going to get better from here. But unless you are as tolerant as me, I wouldn't be able to recommend it on the Switch.
Right.
But I think the game is that good that if you are quite tolerant, you will be fine on the Switch. It's not unplayable by no means.
Just a bit irritating.
Yes, and like I said, the fact that I got irritated it probably means that it probably is a little too buggy for the majority of people. But if you are forgiving and you don't get irritated very easily, then I think you'll be okay, because it's an excellent game. I think they've done really well at filling out. There are 120 monsters.
Yeah, something like that. I think I've got 60-ish.
Yeah, I don't know what I've got at the moment.
With the one thing that's interesting as well is sometimes it's worth catching two of the same monster.
Yes,
because they have evolution paths.
Yes, some of them certainly do, don't they? They have that like the first monster you get given.
Yeah.
When it gets to a certain level, you can choose. It goes one of two ways, doesn't it? Which is pretty cool, I think.
And there's
some of them have a linear path.
Yeah. There's a few that do that. Did you start with the sweet or the scary or spooky or whatever it was?
I started with the Sweet.
Ah, you went the opposite way to me, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, the one the one I went for makes more sense as well because I'm Welsh and is. Do you want to know what it is?
Is there a sheep in it somewhere?
It's like a ghostly sheep. I fucked it to death. It's really cool. And I went for one line, and I was like, "This is pretty cool," and it is pretty cool. But my son also has been playing on his Xbox, and he also went for the scary option or spooky, or whatever it was. But he went for the other path, and I was like, "Damn! I wish I'd gone that way now because that looks cool."
Yeah, I've kind of done that a little bit. So on the Xbox, I went with Sweet on the Xbox as well, and then I chose one path when it leveled up, when it got to rank 5 or star 5.
Yeah.
So then when I started on the Switch again, I went Sweet again, but instead of going with that path, which I knew about, I went with the other one, and it's fine, but the other one was just better. So it's a bit like, oh, I wish I'd gone for that one now.
It's like, I wish I'd done it the other way around.
Yeah, like I did consider resetting, but by the time I considered that, I'd already kind of moved on from that, and it would have meant having to redo. And I was like, oh, you know what? It's fine. Like I don't mind the route that I took. That's absolutely fine. I'll go with that. But yeah, there's a big variety. There's a really big variety.
One thing I'm confused about is the bestiary, or whatever it's called, basically the Pokédex. There's a creature I got that I evolved, or whatever it's called, upgraded, or whatever they say there is on there. And in the bestiary, there was no option to choose from something, but it was like number, say, 66, and then the next one was 68 that I got when I evolved it. So there's question marks for 67, so I'm like, how do I get that then? Because that's just skipped a gap. Unless there's a certain way to do it, like chucking a frog at there or something. There's no frogs in the game that I'm aware of, but you know.
Was that particular one that had a path to follow? Or did it have like just one evolution path? Or
I just went, do you want to power it up? And I clicked yes, and then they went,
okay.
And then just did it. So I'm like really confused as to why. So unless there's like some sort of specific thing you have to do, or I'm wrong and there was a different path and I just forgot.
Yeah, that's really strange.
But yeah, I even come across a special kind of one earlier. Have you got to the point where it mentions bootlegs?
I haven't, but I do have a bootleg one anyway, because I don't know if the code is still active now, but the developer or the publisher, can't remember which one it was, put a tweet out saying, thank you for playing. If you go to one of the mailboxes and connect to the internet and type in the code launch date, it will give you a
I missed bootleg. I missed it on the on the PC version, and I've probably missed it on the Xbox as well now. Damn it.
Well, I did it yesterday, it worked fine, obviously. I did it this morning on the Switch, because it was this morning I picked it up on the Switch. I did it this morning on the Switch and it still worked.
I might give it a try. I've got a bootleg, 2 bootlegs. One of them I just happened upon, and the second one I happened upon was like a crystal one, so it's all like sparkly and stuff. Cool. And it's different to any of the other bootlegs. Okay,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was like, yeah, that's a cool one. Can't remember what it was, Papa Cut or something. Which I'll use after, because what I've been doing is I've been like getting them to rank 5, evolving them, and then looking at the bestiary to see if there's like a gap in there somewhere. It's like, yeah, that might evolve again, and then keep it in the party and try and do it again. Or if it isn't, I'll switch it out with something else to try and do it as many as I can.
Yeah. Should I say what this game? I mean, if at first I thought, if you think about it, the more I think about it, actually, most people think of it as a Pokemon inspired game. I think
Yeah.
it's more of a Digimon inspired game.
I've never played the Digimon games to know, but I think Pokemon-esque is just become a kind of catch-all term for monster-in kind of games. But it doesn't really feel like Pokemon in any ways. Even like the battle system is completely different, and you can do more things in certain things. Like for example, you can poison a Pokemon, and then that's it. But in this, you can put a charge thing on it, so it's affected by electric, while also putting leech on it, which steals health, while also putting sleep and poison on it. So you put loads of other debuffs and stuff like that. So you can do a lot more in that respect.
Yeah, and it follows the kind of the logic of chemistry, I suppose, because it's just got quite a logical. Like for instance, obviously you could say, like for instance, if you use a fire move on an ice monster, that monster will, I believe, it debuffs them. So it drops their defense, it drops things, but it turns them into a water type.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it could potentially do water damage, which can extinguish your fire type if you've got a fire type. So it's not as simple as just having weaknesses and super effective moves. It's a case of you might hit something with a type advantage. But then something happens to that particular monster, which turns the tables on you.
Yeah. So you got to be careful.
Another one that I really like is the poison one. If you use a metal monster and it gets hit by a poison attack, it then tips. It essentially tips your metal with poison, because poison's not actively affected by metal. So then when your monster, who is metal, makes a hit, it will do additional poison damage on top of that because it's tipped with poison.
Yeah.
If you use a fire with poison, a fire move with poison, it burns the poison out. So it's kind of critical there.
You use fire on plastic, the plastic things becomes poison.
It melts and turns into poison.
If you use water against grass, it's not weak against it. It gives the grass thing a buff, which will heal them for 3 turns.
Yep. If you hit a wind type with fire, it gives them a buff, and it also provides a wall, a fire, an air elemental wall to protect them. So, and this is where a lot of these games fall down.
Hitting plastic against electric means that they get debuffed, so that like the attacks are weaker or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but there's another one which is the other way around, where you hit electric with a certain type, it gets multi-target for 3 rounds. So if you attack one thing, the same attack will hit everyone on the opposite team. Yeah. I also noticed with my one thing I was doing sometimes when I was like in a bit of trouble in fights, with my starting Cassette Beast, I would hit myself with my weakest attack, and it would then, because it's an astral type attack against my astral monster, it would give me an AP buff. AP is action points.
Yeah.
So it means that I'm getting extra AP, and it means that I can stick up an elemental wall, it'll lose some more health, and then because of the AP buff, I'll be able to use Nurse, which can then heal me.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, like this is like I was saying. This is where like Pokemon style games, monster collecting games, can really, really heavily fall down, and that's when they're trying to reinvent the wheel, because everyone knows how Pokemon works.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so successful is how simple it is. and arguably this system that Cassette Beasts use is more complicated.
Yeah.
It definitely is more complicated, but it is not complicated in a way that doesn't make sense. And I think there are a lot of games like this which try to put their own spin on it, but they try too hard, and they try too hard to reinvent that wheel, and they just create something that becomes, honestly, it's just a mess really at this point. Whereas this game with Cassette Beasts, I think they've really thought about it, and yes, it's more complicated, but they've based it on logic. And because they've based it on logic, you just kind of understand, and you could make pretty good educated guesses, even if you've never tried something before. You've got an educated guess how it's probably going to work.
Yeah.
And more often than not, you could be right. So yeah, I think they've really done their homework there, and that's something that's really appealing with that game as a result.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a fair way through it now. I think I'm like halfway, maybe, of just doing the main objective that you get at the start. But I'm also like doing certain things with certain people. To like Eugene, I'm specifically gonna do the side quests that you can do. It doesn't say you need to do it with him or anything, but I'm gonna go with Eugene to do it because it was what I started the quest with, who I started the quest with, and things like that. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. And the game feels like if you want to blast through the story, you probably could in about 20 hours, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think it could be quite short if you just went boom, I'm going straight down the story. Yeah,
but if you kind of take the time to explore the world, pick up the rumors within the town, pick up the side quests, and have a look around and explore a little bit and do a bit. The game, the game can be probably 40-50 hour game, maybe more.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah. So this, I came in a bit skeptical. I was never going to dismiss it before I tried it, but like I said, Pokemon is very, very close to my heart. So it always takes a lot, for me to look past that. I was able to look past it on this occasion, and I just think the fundamentals of a monster collecting game, they've got right.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. Is the fundamental bits of it they've nailed. On top of that, they've got a really awesome aesthetic to the game, that 80s, 90s style, the cassettes, the everything about that. That's awesome. That's amazing. The art style is great. It's like that 2D HD thing. I really, really like it. I think it's really cool. I don't think there's like a co-op or an online bit of this game yet.
There is co-op, but it's local only. That I'm aware of. I don't think there's online, so you can play it with two people on the same console.
Yeah,
but
so, maybe and I think DLC is going to be a thing. I think there will be DLC for this game.
Yeah, and if they ever do a sequel to it, though, hopefully they I don't know how it's going to end. It might never be able to do a sequel because maybe the place blows up. Who knows? I don't know. But there you go.
It's definitely, as I said, even considering its technical faults at the moment, I can still play it and enjoy it on the Switch.
Yeah,
I think with another update, which I'm sure within the next kind of few days, maybe a week, they'll have another update out for the Switch. They'll smooth it out that little bit more. And yeah, I think if you're into that type of game, and this game, it kind of feels like it has a lot of character, which is really cool. And literally, like the characters in the game literally have a lot of character, and there's a lot of humor, like right to the beginning of the game. Well, yeah, like right towards the beginning when you first meet Eugene, and like he's talking about what you would assume are going to be vampires, and then you find out they're not. I won't say what it is, but then you find out they're not, and I proper chuckled at that. I was like, oh, that was actually quite funny.
I like the fact that he's like, but they're worse than vampires.
yeah, oh yeah. I love it. I think that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they've really got it right. They did the fundamentals correctly, and then on top of that, they've got a great aesthetic. Like I said, for me, the only downfall, I should say, we haven't even talked about the fact that there's like this fusion thing as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and this is why I said it's actually more like Digimon than it is Pokemon. I think it's more Digimon inspired than Pokemon, because this is very. The more I think about it, I realize actually it's very Digimon-esque, because in Digimon there's fusions. You don't necessarily, they don't turn into the specific monsters, but there are fusions, and the progression of like evolutions. They're not technically evolving, are they? Where with Pokemon, there's usually a logical kind of progression. With the way that these guys, although that like the way these guys kind of advance, you can kind of see the lineage, but there's less kind of sense to be made. It's each monster is an individual, even once it's evolved or remastered or whatever they call them. I think they're called remastered.
Yeah.
And yeah, so actually it has probably more in common with Digimon, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that's really cool. But yeah, I just think I think the only downside to the game is probably the performance, and it's not terrible, it's not horrendous, it's not game breaking in my opinion, but yeah, I think you do have to be, somewhat patient with it, especially on the Switch.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I would agree with from what you've said, but I've like really enjoyed my time with it. I've thought the game is actually very good. The fusion thing, as you mentioned, some of the fusions I've seen have been pretty amazing. In all honesty, like some of them are really fucking daft, but in a good way.
Oh yeah, there's some really awesome ones, to be fair. So no, I think they've done really well. And I say the fusions, the fact that, as far as I'm aware, every monster can fuse with everything.
Yeah,
so
it seems
I'm not
that
sure
way.
how they figured out that one. Yeah, I have no idea how they figured out how to do that, but they have, and fair play to them. Like I think, yeah, it's like I said, the fundamentals are right, but then they've been able to do enough to really like make it's unique in its own kind of thing.
Yeah. Completely agree. Before we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to say? Actually, technically speaking, it's a question I ask every time unless I finish the game, is are you going to continue playing it?
Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to seeing where this game goes.
Yeah, same here. I'm interested in the story, considering, it's fun, interesting little story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as I was going to say, is there anything you would like to add about the game before we end?
No, I think I covered it all. Just I think, put it this way: if you've got Game Pass for PC or Xbox, it's a no-brainer. Go and try it. If you want to get it for the Switch, just be warned what I've said. But if they release a patch which smooths that out, it's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
Nice. Yeah, I think I will have to agree with you there. Yeah. Right. That's going to be us. We are going to end here. Is there anything you'd like to plug? You haven't streamed in a while, so I don't know if you want to plug that anyway.
No, I just don't have time, unfortunately, these days to stream. But no, I don't think I have anything to plug specifically today.
What about Metallodad?
Well, yeah, I suppose I could always plug that. So I run a fathers support group in Barry, South Wales, called the Tally Dads, and we use our shared passion for rock and heavy metal music to kind of encourage other dads to chat, to open up, and yeah, just kind of reach out, I suppose. I think anyone who's got kids knows how isolating it can be, how challenging it can be, and how much of a strain on your on your mental well-being it can be, and we all have challenges, and yeah, and we set, I certainly had plenty of challenges towards the beginning, and I was struggling, so me and a friend set the group up. And there's lots of groups out there that you could join if you're a dad and you're into football. There's loads of groups that are based around football and things like that. So we decided, well, let's do one around what we like. So we did it around rock, heavy metal, just alternative music in general. And it turns out there were a lot of other dads out there who who also had similar tastes to us. So yeah, so we do all sorts. We try and put events on, which if we can fund them ourselves, that's what we do, in order to be able to like provide the service for free, just so the guys can turn up and just enjoy them. We're in the middle of a 6-month event at the moment called the Let There Be Talk Festival. So we've had some grant funding from the National Lottery. They provided us with £5,000, which is
Nice.
yeah, great. We put the application in for it. Never thought we'd get it, and then they gave us it. So over the next 6 months, from March to September, we're putting on a series of events every month, multiple events, from small kind of coffee morning type things to bigger kind of nights out or evenings out, where Metalli Dads are able to fund either the complete, like the whole thing, or the vast majority of the thing, to make it as affordable and accessible as possible. We've done cinema trips. We've done kind of like quiz nights with like food and drinks and that, which have been paid for. We do coffee mornings. What else do we do? There's all sorts. We've got a family barbecue coming up in the next few months. Yeah, we just, there's lots of stuff that we've got on over the next 6 months, and it's just to encourage dads to get out, come and have a chat and socialize and get to know everyone, and yeah, just kind of spread the message a little bit that we all struggle. We all go through our struggles, and you don't have to do it alone. There are other guys out there, and um, odds are there's going to be someone out there who's been through a very similar experience to you. So, you know that they are going to be able to empathize with you, and just that feeling of not being alone in something can be the difference between getting through it and kind of getting through it, but in a much harder way. So yeah, that's what we do with Metalli Dads. Facebook is where we are mostly, so if you just type the name in. But we're also on Twitter and Instagram. But Facebook it's where it's at. We have a private group which is for dads only, which you can apply to join, and yeah, take it from there.
Metalli Dads on Facebook.
That's it. Yes.
Check it out. It's a really cool thing to do, man.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, it's the reality is that there's not enough out there. There's not enough for mothers, never mind fathers, out there. But yeah, and anything to do with mental health is so heavily underfunded. That yeah, it's just the services are struggling, because the funding isn't there, but the demand is.
Yeah.
So and we just we didn't like that, so we decided to take matters into our own hand and try and do something about that. And this is the result. We're now up to, we've been going for just it would be 3. I think we're coming up to 3 years.
Nice.
I think, yeah, we're coming up to 3 years next month. And we are at 450 members. So, yeah, you know, there's a lot more. I thought when we set the group up, I thought there'd be like 20 of us, and that would be fine. That would be absolutely fine. But it turns out that there are plenty of dads out there who really appreciate their kind of rock and heavy metal and kind of want to have a chat about that, and then hopefully as a result of them kind of having a chat about what they like and what they like to listen to, that evolves into a chat about maybe some of their struggles, or asking for some advice, or providing some help for somebody else who's asking it. You know, it's just about starting conversations. Once you start one, another one happens, and then another and another. You know, obviously, as you can hear, I've got no problem starting a conversation. You know, but there are a lot of people that do have that trouble, and you know, we're trying to give them a head start by giving them a subject. Obviously, we talk about a lot more than just music. You know, film, TV comes up a lot as well. Games, Warhammer, D&D. You know, there's loads of hobbies and interests that we all like, and there's always a conversation to be started because of it.
Yeah, no, it's, like I said, it's a really cool thing to be doing, and you know, it's obviously helping people, which is why it's grown so much. You know.
Yeah.
But I'll put it in the description and stuff as well, so you can click on the link. But that is going to be it from us then. I would like to thank you for taking part again. Pleasure having you on, man. It was a
pleasure having a go. And I'll look forward to doing this again in the near future, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. So that is going to be it then. I would like to say thank you everyone who is listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks, hopefully. Bye-bye.
One second. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. My wireless headset decided to disconnect for the last kind of 20 seconds or so I was just trying to get that reconnected. I could hear what you were saying through my laptop speakers, but yeah, that was a bit wonky.
Yeah.
But yes, we're Cassette Beasts. That's it. Sorry, I got completely distracted by that then.
Yeah, kind of.
1 second, Pedz. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. So bear with me 1 second. I can hear you. Could you hear anything I said for the last?
Yeah, you heard everything you said, man.
Yep, that's okay then. So.
Hello? Ooh. You vanished. Hello? Hello, I can hear you again now.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. I literally have no idea. So I do apologise.
That's no problem, man.
My headset's just, having a bit of a mare at the moment, and I have no idea why. So I am sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all good, man. The last thing you said is you really like the aesthetic, and I think.
Okay. I have a think. Where did I go from? Did you hear me about like the fact that I like it as like stickers?
I didn't know.
No. Okay, I'll go from there then. So.